right, guys. And good morning, golfing world. It's TGD Today, Pro Golf Talk Live with Al Cloyd and George Honeycutt. HR3 is taking care of some family business over in Georgia today. He's back in our old neck of the woods, Al.
That's it, Bulldog country.
Bulldog.
Yes, sir.
But like returning home to East Tennessee.
That's it.
Yeah.
You can't beat it. Old Smoky.
Well, it's sad that both of us follow dogs.
That's it. You can't beat it.
A lot going on.
World.
My computer's sitting here. I'm having to kind of swipe away the smoke coming from it. A lot of tournaments going on. Of course, we've got the U.S. Senior Open that just kicked off this morning from Sacramento, California. Of course, they are playing Del Paso Country Club in Sacramento. And thankfully, we're coming to you, I guess not thankfully, but maybe remorsefully. We are coming to you from the studio. Otherwise, I'd be out at Del Paso caddying for HR3.
That's right.
But he just missed going to the U.S. Senior Open by one shot. And I know he kind of feels a little sad about that, but I was kind of proud of him.
Oh, no doubt.
He was in the hunt.
Yep.
You know?
Definitely.
And considering
Next
he hadn't
year.
been hunting in a while,
That's
you
it.
know,
Heck
at least he was hunting.
That's right.
So, you know, I put it that way.
Turned
But
the dog loose, got the guns out. You can't beat it.
see, there's the dogs again. All right, Grant Waite is right now in the lead after 4 holes. He started on the back 9, but he's through 4, 2 under par. Lee Jansen's at 2 under through 2, teeing off on the back. Bob Niger is at 1 under through 5. Michael Allen 1 under through 3. Peter Senior 1 under through 3. Mark O'Meara 1 under through 3. Ian Woosman 1 under through 3. Again, this golf course, it's going to be those that played last week, of which we are speaking specifically about Colin Montgomery. He didn't have far to travel from Chambers Bay, but congratulations to Colin again for making the all the way through all 4 days. He made the cut. Again, I was kind of hoping Jimenez would also make the cut.
Yes.
But Colin Montgomery now is working off of 3 Champion Tour wins. And interestingly, Al, all 3 of them are majors.
Interesting.
He can't win a regular championship. He can't win a regular event on the Champions Tour. And he was asked about that over the weekend.
Right.
And his comments were, and I think was brilliant, it would have been probably the same one that the Godfather would have used. But he said, look, he says, I'm used to playing 4-day tournaments. He said when the Champions Tour does their regular tour stops, they're only 3 days, and I can't go low enough to keep up with them. He says, my type of game is fairways and greens and 2-putt par and walk off. He said, so the major championships, they're on a little bit tougher courses. My strength of driving, my strength of approach, you know, greens and regulation.
Right.
He says, I'm able to go out and shoot my even 1, 2, 3 under pars, and I don't have to worry about shooting 6, 7, and 8 under par for 3 days. So I'm not chasing 24 under par. I'm chasing 6 under, 7 under for 4 days. So he said that's why so far he's had success in the major championships versus the regular Champions Tour.
Yep.
Interesting.
It's just funny how, you know, mentally, you know, in your, you know, say your mind says, well, you know, I just play better this, you know, this whole format. It's better for me and my game.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
and he proved it again. I mean, here he was, qualified, made the cut at Chambers Bay in the U.S. Senior Open, and played extremely well. He had one faulty day, but and that was basically Sunday, and he came right out and said, I got tired.
Yep.
I got tired. He said that was a haul. That was 11 miles each day. He said just getting to and from the holes, he goes, I'm used to having some cart assistance if necessary. And out there, they didn't have it.
Right.
So, but again, congratulations to him. And I think he'll play extremely well. He's not planning on going off until later in the day. So and again, with them being Pacific Standard Time, then we'll be getting continuous updates all day long as we move through our coverage. And then, of course, we'll provide you a complete summary and recap coming up Monday on Monday Morning Golf Wrap here on TGD Radio and TGD TV. So be sure to look for that. Maybe HR3 will be back, but then again, maybe he won't. Who knows? But you'll be here.
Heck yeah, man. definitely.
You wouldn't miss it.
That's right.
All right, what else is going on? Well, the ladies don't start till tomorrow, but they are back in action, and they have one of their 3-day events coming up this weekend. So they'll actually start play tomorrow. And, of course, the PGA Tour gets back into swing after the U.S. Open break. Those that qualified, of course, for Chambers Bay had a long week, but not as long as the players that played at Chambers Bay. And then they immediately traveled 9 time zones, 5,000 miles to Munich, Germany, to play in this week's European Tour stop. And one of those being, of course, Henrik Stenson, Martin Keimer, Sean Lowry.
Yes, sir.
Many of the players transferred a lot of miles. They got some good air miles.
That's right.
9 time zones.
Man.
Isn't that crazy? So they are in Munich, Germany this week. And I got to mention, folks, I mentioned it earlier during one of our previous programs, but after watching Chambers Bay, covering Chambers Bay for you, which we hope you enjoyed here on TGD Radio and TV, and all thanks goes out to Al for helping us out here in our live commentary and coverage of the last round of the U.S. Open this year.
And thank you for having me. I had a blast.
But you know, we sat and we studied Chambers Bay. We gave you a lot of shows previewing Chambers Bay and the firmness, the hardness, the severity, the contours, the elevation, the topographical differences of Chambers Bay versus your standard Parkland golf course. I'm watching the European Tour. Of course, they are at Golf Club München in right outside of Munich, Germany. Mm-hmm. And I watched the coverage this morning. And as I commented earlier, I must say that after about 5 minutes of watching the coverage, Al, I needed another cup of coffee to stay awake. It was boring, boring, boring.
You know, especially after, you know, what we just witnessed.
Oh,
my
gosh.
It's going to be hard to, yeah.
I mean, it was almost silly to watch Stenson and Keimer and Shane Lowry because they were all paired together today. They were the featured group for the morning wave and for the BBC broadcast. And it was Stenson hit 3-wood off the box to the fairway. Stenson hit wedge from the fairway to the 5 foot of the pin. Stenson make the birdie putt. Move on. Okay. Yeah. Okay, great. I mean, the only excitement was on the par 5 9th hole, which they had played the back first and then played the front for their second 9. And the number 9 is a par 5, Al. It's got water kind of out there that you deal with on your drive, and you hit a center fairway area. And then there's water you got to carry to a marsh area, and water you got to carry to the green. And they're coming in from 240 to 260, roughly.
Yes, sir.
And you got some trees to get around, but it's nothing big. I mean, you and I can hit the biggest slices in the world, so it wouldn't be a problem for us.
I got that shot in my bag.
Absolutely. So, you know, I'm sitting there watching them, and Martin Keimer sprayed one so far right that he had 246 to the pin, I believe it was, or 256 to the pin, whatever. He hit it 256 yards. He hit it 200 straight and 56 right.
That'll happen.
He hits a tree in a hazard area. It is over. By the way, they had some crowds today that blew me away. I mean, the number of spectators looked like Sunday afternoon. It was amazing. So hats off to the people in Munich, Germany. Thank you for coming out and supporting the golf for the European Tour, because you came out in groves today, and of course you wanted to follow Henrik Stenson and of course your home country boy Martin Keimer. So Keimer hits this shot, and the spectators are all turning around looking like this because they hear it dinking in the woods behind them. And they're going, did he just hit that? They didn't know what was going on. And all of a sudden, the ball just plinkos. Tree, bloom, falls down. He is 40 yards right of the cart path. He is 30 yards right of the spectators. And he's got about 174 trees that he's got to get around to get to the green.
Oh, I love it.
He goes in there, takes an iron out, sends this low thing, drives it into the rough that's around the greens of about 4 inches, okay? that the players aren't even getting into. They don't play out of it.
Right.
He blows it into this rough. It is screaming.
Right.
Ball goes through the rough, checks up, hits the fringe, comes up, finishes 8 feet away, and he makes birdie. And you're like going, holy crap.
Man, these guys are good.
I'm sitting here going, why doesn't that happen when I hit it 50 yards offline? You know, what's up with this?
Most people are thinking, I'm be lucky to get out of here with a bogey.
It's a loft issue.
It's a loft issue.
That's it.
It's a ball issue. Stenson
I think it's
tees off with the Frankenwood, hits it 307 with the 3-wood. Okay? That's all fine and dandy. He's got 240-something to the pin. Hits the Frankenwood again. He's playing a peeler. He wants to peel it. Okay? If anybody doesn't know what that means, Stenson's right-handed, so he's going to hit it left or right. Okay. I've dead my airtime now.
All right. That's right.
He wants to hit a peeler. He pull hooks this thing over the grandstands, over the concession stand. He's up at the cart barn.
And he's still inbound?
He is 70 left. The BBC coverage, which you want to see good coverage, folks, watch the BBC. They know how to do it.
They can find the ball?
Oh, yeah. They found the ball. And he got free relief. They take him and his ball to a little square area in that 4-inch rough that I mentioned. They take and put him about 20 yards off the green left, between the edge of the grandstands and a tree line. And they say, okay, you drop here. You get free drop. And I'm going, okay. Now, if this had been Mickelson, he would have tried to hit it off the top of the cart barn, off the porta potty, off the rake, off the sprinkler head, and then onto the green.
Exactly. Oh,
But Stenson goes, takes his drop, throws it in there. The ball disappears. He takes out a wedge. He hacks this thing. It goes up, hits the green, finishes 6 feet away. And I'm sitting here going, God almighty, these guys have no worries. If that had been Chambers Bay,
right,
PETA would have arrested him for killing a whale. Out in the bay.
Yep.
There was no way they
cheap.
would have played those shots at Chambers Bay because of the probable and possible results.
Exactly. Two totally different environments.
Two totally different environments.
Yes, sir.
And I'm sitting here going, this is boring as crap. Whatever. I'm going to watch it anyway, though. You know me.
He watched paint dry.
Yeah, that's right. Jensen starts off the day 7 under par, 65. Andrew Johnston starts off at 66, 6 under par. Rafa Cabrera Bellows at 6 under. He is still out on the golf course through 15. Daniel Gaunt is at 6 under through 14. Karadash Alfie Bonrot had the morning lead at 5 under par. Henrik Stenson, as I previously mentioned, folks, he only had 4 birdies in the last 5 holes. He was actually hovering at even par and then decided to go ahead and, okay, I'll turn it on. So, what do you expect? He never had farther than a 5-foot putt for birdie. So he finishes at 5 under for the morning round at 67, and there are many others at 6 and 5 and 4 and 4 and 4 and 4 and 4. So you sit there and go, okay, we don't have Chambers Bay anymore.
Right, exactly.
Less than 20 days, the European Tour and, of course, the R&A host the Open Championship at St. Andrews. Looking forward to that. We'll have coverage of the majors here, of course, on TGD TV and TGD Radio. And then after that, we have the PGA Championship at Whistling Straits.
Nice.
And I'm excited about that.
Definitely.
And I'm wondering how, and we commented on this Sunday, Al, during our 4th round coverage of the U.S. Open, about how Mr. Kohler's going to dry that golf course out because he wants it to play just as tough. The greens will be great.
Right.
No doubt about it.
No doubt about
Different
it.
green surfaces at Kohler, at Whistling Straits. But, again, I'm looking forward to that layout. So one player I must mention on the European Tour that is playing this week, shot 4 under par, of course, 68. Tongjai Jaidi is – Hugh, that's for you, baby.
You have learned to say his name so well.
I know.
He's getting good at that.
I like that. Eduardo Mortalinari. How about that?
There you go.
Yeah. So, again, the golf course is beautiful. They've had a ton of rain. There's tons of grass. Folks, if you missed green golf courses, just pull up the European Tour during the morning coverages on the Golf Channel. You'll see green grass. It's striped. It's green. Na-na-na-na. Okay. If you were tired of brown
Is
after a
Poulter
week.
playing there?
No.
Oh, okay.
I
just wondered how he was putting there.
No.
I had a good friend from England one time, and they were considering, moving to the United States. So then when they went back to England to get their ducks in a row to get back over here, when they got over there, they said, we just can't come back to America. They said, it's just not green enough. So the European countries, are definitely a lot greener in general.
Oh, they're gorgeous.
Than what we deal with.
Oh, just absolutely marvelous country over there, and it doesn't matter where you travel. It's just beautiful. I mean, the local areas, the small towns, the heritage, and you can be in a country over there in Europe, and there'll be 6 different cultures within 15 miles of one another.
That's wild.
So I love it. I love it. All right, we talked about the PGA Tour back in action again. They're at the Travelers Championship, which is one of those tournament stops where the players really love to go to. They have a great time. They really go out of their way hospitality-wise, much like Quail Hollow does. They get a lot of participation there. But, again, they are fired back up into their regular season, let's say. And, Al, interestingly, I wanted to kind of give everybody an update. Let me go over here to my stats. And through the FedEx Cup standings right now, Jordan Spieth, wow, is that a surprise? He's in the lead on the FedEx Cup points at 31-28 through 17 events. And, folks, there's a little thing I want to tell you here. The reason Jordan Spieth has all those points, of course, he's won the Masters, and he now won the U.S. Open, so he's 2 legs into the Grand Slam. But one thing I want you to keep in mind, these are not just spur-of-the-moment wins, and this is not the only things he's done this year. 17 events, he's got 10 top 10 finishes. 10.
He's strong.
That is strong. The next person closest to him with 17 events is Hideki Matsuyama at 8.
I'd never guessed that one.
Dustin Johnson's played in 14 events, and he's got 7.
Where's Matsuyama at in the rankings, FedEx?
Sorry
to put you on the spot there. I'm just curious.
I'll have to. It'll take me a moment, but I'll find it. It'll take me a moment.
That's another one right there. I really like watching. I think he's got a lot of potential, man. The dude learns to putt. He's going to be dangerous.
Yeah, he's actually a pretty good putter, Jeff. He just struggles with that stop in his backstroke on the putting, and every once in a while he hoods it. He has a tendency of hooding it. Hideki is in 9th place in the FedEx Cup rankings, again with 1,257 points. He's had 8 top 10 finishes. He's right now 1,871 points behind the leader. So you figure they get 550 points for a win. He's 3 wins behind. That's basically it. So, again, let's look at this real quick, too. And the reason I bring this up, folks, is this year, of course, President's Cup. Okay?
Okay.
So, the President's Cup, basically, the players are, again, biting to get on that team when they head over to Korea. Okay? So, you're looking at basically the top 10 in the FedEx Cup standings are going to play for the U.S. unless they're an international player. That's the way they're basically going to bog it out here.
I'm with you.
Okay? So, you're looking at Jordan Spieth, of course, leading the way.
Yep.
Then you got Jimmy Walker.
Yep.
Dustin Johnson.
Yep.
Patrick Reed.
Right.
J.B. Holmes, Brandt Snedeker, and then you're going to your Charlie Hoffmans.
Right.
Robert Streb, interestingly.
Okay.
Bubba is right on the cut line.
On the bubble. Yeah.
He's on the bubble.
Yep.
Bubba may be the captain's pick, interestingly. And Bubba didn't have a good showing at Chambers Bay. He basically didn't want to be there, didn't care to be there, didn't want to be there. He made comments about it. You know, he showed the Poulter baby.
Not a big surprise.
Baby streak. Okay. Yeah. I kept wondering if they were going to go out there and put a Depends on him. I just figured he was going to have an accident somewhere. So, also to keep in mind and look at for the President's Cup, Kevin Kisner.
Yep.
Ben Martin. Chris Kirk. These are names that we talked about last year for the Ryder Cup, except for Ben Martin. He wasn't on the blip screen. But Chris Kirks, some of these others, including a Billy Horschel, although he's not having a great year. Billy is just not playing the same way he was last year. Now, those names that I left off that are in the FedEx Cup hunt, of course, but they'll be international players. You're Justin Rose, Rory McIlroy. But McIlroy right now is in 4th place FedEx Cup standings. Interesting. Dustin Johnson's in 3rd. Patrick Reed's 5th. Charlie Hoffman 6th. J.B. Holmes 7th. Brant Snedeker 8th. Hideki Matsuyama 9.
Who's 2?
Who is 2 is Jimmy Walker.
Jimmy Walker's 2.
16 events, 1,915 points. He's 1,200 behind the leader. He's had 6 top 10 finishes in 16 events. Okay. Notice we don't see Phil's name.
He's a solid check casher.
Oh yeah, he's an ATM.
He's an ATM. Yeah.
He's an ATM.
He's an ATM. Ain't no.
So,
Yep.
but notice we don't see Phil's name. Is Phil going to be another captain's pick? We don't know.
How many
And
captain's picks? Are they gonna
Interestingly, also too, in the world rankings is where this individual is not up there in FedEx Cup points, but this individual is actually going to be put on the President's Cup team because of his world ranking points. And that's Jim Furyk. He will be there, folks. Plan on it. Okay? Again, there's many, many, many players ahead of Phil Mickelson in the FedEx Cup race. So Phil right now is in 45th place in FedEx Cup points.
It just goes to show you. I mean, the pool of talent that's out there now, and the young group, or the younger generation starting to take over.
Phil's had 13 events so far this season that he's played in, 3 top 10s. Billy Horschel, 20 events, 2 top 10s. So I bring this up, folks, because we kind of need to go on President's Cup watch. We kind of need to start tracking this stuff. And we'll make it a point over the next several shows. We'll kind of keep everybody up to date on who's guaranteed on the team and who's not guaranteed on the team. And then what we also need to do, Al, is we need to start breaking down both the international squad and the U.S. squad and start looking at the different players for the two. Because are we going to see the Westwoods? Are we going to see the Sergios? Are we going to see some of the others that are always on the international squad, but because of the way they're playing right now, and Sergio's kind of excluded, he's going to be on the squad, but Westwood is definitely up in the air right now. Yep. He definitely is. So we need to start looking at those and start talking about that because exciting as it may or may not be, it is a President's Cup.
Oh, no doubt.
So and again, the U.S. is dominant in the President's Cup versus the Europeans being dominant in the Ryder Cup.
Yes, sir.
So, and it'll be somewhat interesting in the fact that, one, are the players going to get hyped up and excited about it because of the end of the long season and then they've got to traipse over to Korea? Or are they just going to kind of go, well, maybe I don't want to head over there and do that?
Right.
Are we going to have any of those, like a Bubba Watson's, that's going to say, well, no, I'm just not feeling up to it, so I'm not going to go?
Yeah, probably one or two,
And who will that be? So we don't know.
We don't know.
We'll talk about it.
You got it.
All right, this has been Al Cloyd and George Honeycutt, of course, on Pro Golf Talk Live. We want to thank you for joining us. And, again, we'll provide a complete wrap-up and summary of all these tournaments and much, much more on Monday Morning Golf Wrap right here on TGD TV and radio, which are, by the way, produced and broadcast by the Zeus Radio Network for thegolfdirector.com. When visiting the Golf Director, be sure to check out our featured course pages where you'll find up-to-date information about course conditions, specials, and much more. If you need help with any golf vacation plans, just call Dave. Give us a call right here at the Golf Director at 844-GO-GOLF-1. That's 844-464-6531. Make sure you write that down. All of our TGD programming is archived for listening and viewing on demand. To catch up on any show you may have missed, you can go to the Golf Director, click on the TGD Radio or the TGD TV tabs in the menu screen at thegolfdirector.com. We're now available on over 1
billion
devices at iTunes, Audio Realm, TuneIn, YouTube, Ustream, Roku, Blueberry, and Myrtle Beach Golf app. For Al Cloyd, George Honeycutt, Jeff Behind the Glass, want to thank you for tuning in, and we want to let you know there's a lot of golf news and information coming up next.